Hey YouTube, Joeboy here. So, One Piece chapter 1121 is out. If you guys haven't checked out that chapter yet, I suggest that you do so because I will be spoiling you. But now that you have, let's begin. Is it wrong of me that I was kind of vibing with Rayleigh in the chapter? Beginning the review asking for violence, how about that? I love the chapter, and I don't want you to think otherwise. But like honestly, Vegapunk really hasn't said anything for a few chapters now, and I just kind of feel like when we initially were talking about Vegapunk's speech, I thought that Oda had it written out and extremely concise and things like that. Reading the last couple chapters, not really. The actual flow of Vegapunk's message in combination with the events in the chapter is absolutely top tier. But we really haven't learned anything since the very beginning of the speech. Vegapunk is rambling. I know you guys want to be mad, but it is what it is. Personally, I think that you can tell that Oda is trying his best not to reveal too much, and he only had certain things that he intended on revealing in Vegapunk's speech. But it's just so perfect. Vegapunk being the backdrop of everything that's happening works so well that it's Oda's okay, let's just keep doing this. When if you were actually listening to the message outside of the battlefield here in Egghead, if you're just a person watching on the Dendemushi, it's okay, bro's waffling. I think that our expectations for the speech were set a bit too high, especially after the first banger couple chapters of the reveal, the nature of the world, in the flooding and things like that. I think that it was natural to sort of expect more, when that really wasn't the case. Looking back on it, what Vegapunk really said was, one, he said that the world flooded in the past. That will have consequences. Related to this is the reveal that the ancient weapons caused this. Once again, that will have direct consequences. Vegapunk also revealed the existence and nature of Joyboy. The things that Vegapunk specifically revealed is that Joyboy had an elastic body. He is similar to the legend of the sun god Nika. He is from the ancient kingdom whose existence has been erased, and he was the first person to be called a pirate. If people were paying attention to Vegapunk's words at all, they will know very shortly that Luffy is most like Joyboy. So given the context of what Vegapunk said in this chapter, that the person who finds the One Piece may not be the person that Joyboy intended, they should piece together that the person that Joyboy intended to find the One Piece is Luffy. But I think that it's important that Vegapunk didn't necessarily take a side. He didn't try to explain who was right or who was wrong in the Void Century. So the missing piece for many people around the world is going to be, well, why do we want to root for Joyboy? Why should we want the person that Joyboy wanted to find this? Vegapunk doesn't really explain. And I have a feeling that this argument that substantiate this a little bit more is part of what was missing with the Family D. But yeah, right now and going into the future, a crucial thing that the world needs to know is the world government is evil, right? And that Vegapunk does not explain this in the chapter. This is something that has to come later. Revolutionary Army. For now, if you believe in the world government, you're still going to do that. If you already hate the world government, then you will probably believe in something else. Maybe believe in Luffy. If you believe in Nika, you'll definitely believe in Luffy. Long story short is there's definitely going to be a moment in the future where the world collectively realizes, look, the world government is not on our side. And if they recollect Vegapunk's speech, they should know who their hero is. And this is important to understanding the point of Vegapunk's message. The world needs to ask the question, who is on the right side of this conflict? And fittingly, we get something similar to a Rayleigh moment. When Robin asked him about the true history, he says, learn more about the world and decide for yourself. The world will shortly be doing this. But yeah, including the fact that Vegapunk intended to talk about the Family D, that there was somebody special from this family, likely supposed to be Joyboy, but we never got there. That was the real meat of Vegapunk's message, and that ended probably 1117-ish. Since then, it just seems like Oda's been using Vegapunk to set a tone. But if I were to summarize the most recent chapters in Vegapunk's message, I think that, the meaning of it is more subtle. What seems like the world was not entirely aware of this is the reveal that Roger found the truth of the world. I'm not sure if this will have consequences or not, but the world before this point thought of the One Piece treasure as literal treasure that Roger collected, as the king of the pirates. But Vegapunk has recontextualized this and basically is saying that, hey, part of Roger's treasure is history, the secrets. This is actually new for most people, and it coincides with the, again, subtle reveal that Roger was of the Family D. Basically, Vegapunk has re-explained the One Piece in much more specific terms. So if we assume that this reveal was actually important, my best guess is that Vegapunk, through his speech, has inspired something in the people of the world, just as we are reading it It's compelling, like, what is going on with this strange world? Why did it flood in the past? What is this lost history? When Roger urged people to find his treasure, what ended up happening was a lot of people that were interested in gold and power were the ones to pursue it. I guess I should just call it wealth, fame, and power. Vegapunk's speech acts a lot like Roger's, but it seems to be targeting a different audience. And I suppose that it's important to say this. One of the great things about this chapter was the feeling of entering the final saga. Oda conveyed that because we're like panning around the world at all of these great factions, find the One Piece, change the world. The scope of it is like this humongous weight. Like straight up, Oda masterfully conveyed that the final saga of the One Piece doesn't take place in an individual island, right? Like the scope of the final saga of the One Piece story is the entire world that we have been journeying the entire time. And like everybody we've ever met. It just felt insanely epic. So the way that the One Piece treasure has always worked is that nobody knows what it is, so it is whatever they want it to be, within the realm of their imaginations, and if they believe in it at all. So Vegapunk has his One Piece is real moment here. He's basically just continued what Roger and what Whitebeard started, but we've added Ohara to it. It's no longer just about wealth, fame, and power. Because of the threat that Vegapunk has explained to the world, finding the One Piece might mean survival. I just feel like that's a natural mind state for a lot of people in the world right now. Is like, look, the world is in danger. Cue the Ralph, I'm in danger. But we don't know precisely why it's in danger or how to stop it, so what is the first place that they're all gonna think of, where should I look in order to figure this out? The One Piece. But yeah, saying this out loud was important for me as well, just because I'm just trying to understand Vegapunk's intent. The question that he poses at the end here of was this a coincidence that Roger was closest to the truth and it relates to the things that I'm talking about? And for me, it makes it much clearer that the point of this, which we take for granted, but certainly the world wouldn't take for granted, is that finding the One Piece is basically how you save the planet. Although it depends on who actually finds it. And Vegapunk wanted that to be clear. I feel like I'm rambling, but long story short is a lot of probably good-natured people are gonna set out to the seas as well. Not just good-natured like Luffy, hey, I want to have an adventure, but good-natured and I have a purpose for being here. There is something very specific that I want. This could result in the actual countries of the world becoming pirate-like. But like I said at the very beginning, I'm not sure if this comes to anything or not, whether these random new people come in and are interested in finding the truth of the world, it's all kind of irrelevant because we know who the players are. So the other way to look at this is that now the world has a rooting interest in who finds the One Piece. That is basically what Vegapunk said in the chapter. I'm not sure if the world fully comprehends this or not, but Vegapunk says that the person who finds the One Piece might not be the one that Joy Boy actually wanted, meaning somebody is gonna find this and you're not gonna like what happens. So at the very least, I feel as though the world is going to collectively decide who it is that they are rooting for. And I don't really want to explain this, but I think that the world rooting for Luffy will actually have an effect. I just have a feeling somewhere in my gut that Luffy gets stronger the more that people believe in him. And perhaps that is also conveyed in this chapter. Luffy just seems so much stronger than when we began this battle. Either that or the Gorosei seem that much weaker. I loved all of the Bonnie and Luffy stuff in this chapter, but I could also understand why some people it might not be your cup of tea. Just honestly, as I'm reading the chapter, it is frustrating to some level that Luffy just doesn't take care of business when we're in an obviously tense situation. But it's clear at this point that Luffy's devil fruit manipulates him at least slightly. The Luffy that we see in Nika is not quite the real Luffy. Luffy's devil fruits make dreams, make imagination reality. And then Luffy as Nika is compelled to give Bonnie what she wants. Bonnie wanted to punch Saturn. Describing this was the majority of this chapter. Bonnie has this thing that she wants to do, but she's struggling with her ability to be able to do it, both physically and mentally. And I guess that Luffy could just sense that, and then he made it happen. But it's definitely things like this which separate One Piece from any other generic shonen. Criticize One Piece however you like to, one thing that you cannot do is call it generic. I think that the easy, cool thing to do here is just have Luffy destroy Saturn by himself. Or leave the arc with the Gorosei being as intimidating as when they showed up. But instead we're reading the chapter, suddenly we're in our feels and we're crying. It do be like that. But yeah, I don't want to continue this review forever, so let's just do some spark notes. I wonder if the Gorosei have literally gotten weaker since the beginning of this arc. They were summoned via a pinnacle, and that was always weird from the very start. And just, I don't know, intuitively, it makes sense for them to have some sort of limited power supply. Honestly, it would be 3D chess, absolutely giga brain Chad energy, if Oda intended to parallel the ancient giant robot with the Gorosei the entire time. Nika and Joy power the robot up, and all of these feelings power the Gorosei down simultaneously. Just my gut feeling. I think that a strong argument can be made that the Gorosei are literally made of shadows or darkness or evil. It would then make sense that Nika kind of counteracts them. And it would also make sense that Imu with the Gorosei counteract, at least to some degree, Nika. But yeah, one highlight of this chapter for me personally was Vegapunk lingering on the mysterious races of the One Piece world that the world government is trying to eliminate, specifically focusing on Pudding as a member of the Three-Eyed Clan. You better believe I'm excited about all of this. And it's like crazy, we already knew that there was basically no Three-Eyed Tribe members left except for Pudding, but I hadn't quite connected it of like, oh, the world government clearly killed all of these people. Sometimes I'm slow, but it does make me desperate to want to know exactly the exact reason why the world government has decided these particular races cannot survive. We speculated, obviously, over many chapter reviews that I think that the races of the One Piece world were bioengineered. This includes fishmen and dwarves and every other race as well, except giants. But only some of them have been aggressively targeted. Why is that? If there's a clue to any of this at all, I really think that it lies with the Three-Eyed Tribe. They're supposed to be able to read the poneglyphs. They have this innate ability. I really think that the voice of all things is a technology. In the same way as Shirahoshi as Poseidon, a weapon, possibly a technology, which its like entire power is the voice of all things with Sea Kings. So my gut feeling is that certain races interact with the Ancient Kingdom or the technology of the Ancient Kingdom different to others. But I don't feel like going off the deep end today. The last really notable thing is at the end of the chapter, Oda highlighted all of the major players in the world. It all depends on who finds the One Piece, and then we have an epic panel with everybody there who are capable of finding the One Piece. So of course you have all the characters that we would anticipate: Blackbeard, Buggy, Shanks, Akainu, Dragon, but there are some surprising characters included in this that I think tell you something. Guys, Kobe is a player for the One Piece. I mean, even in the chapter we see the Marines, like random Marines say, oh, we gotta find the treasure first. But I really think that Kobe and Akainu are two sides of the same coin. There is almost definitely going to be a showdown between them, and now for the first time ever, I'm really thinking that the final battle for Akainu is actually against Kobe, to decide who should really be leading the Marines. I don't know why this hasn't been a thought before now, but it is definitely a thought now. I think that some people might be surprised that Oda included Aokiji. Like, why would Oda include Aokiji among all these people? Isn't he a subordinate of Blackbeard? Isn't he kind of like washed up at this point in time? Guys, I really think that Aokiji is the only person in the world, or at least this is like thematically what Aokiji represents, is he is the person trying to destroy it. Once again, it feels like too big of a conversation to like properly explain, but I encourage you to watch Film Z. And while Film Z is not canon, I think that the interaction between Zephyr and Aokiji in that movie better explains Aokiji's intentions in the post-time skip. I think that Aokiji has concluded that the existence of the One Piece is what substantiates the pirates, and the pirates bring chaos which destabilizes the world and yada yada bad things. So he has decided to destroy it and not use it, unlike everybody else. In my opinion, this is what makes Aokiji different and why he is deserving of a panel here in this page. But we also got a panel of Sabo, which is really interesting considering we also got a panel of Dragon. They're both in the same faction. Dragon is Sabo's superior. In my opinion, this is a smoking gun confirmation that when it comes to the One Piece, we should be thinking about Sabo differently from Dragon. If Sabo was just a subordinate of Dragon, he would not be here. Just my 2 cents, guys. We'll obviously see what happens, but I'm of the opinion Dragon dies. And I prefer this over Sabo in any way betraying him, or having an idea of how to utilize the One Piece differently than Dragon. Ultimately, Sabo inherits the Revolutionary Army, so really you could erase a Dragon from like the people who are going to claim the One Piece and just keep Sabo there. That's what I think. Sorry for Dragon fans out there. Ya boy gonna die. And then we have the final mysterious character of this panel, literally in shadow. Everyone else that we like know of who is an actual player for the One Piece is accounted for. So Oda is clearly telling us that there is somebody else that we have not yet met who is close to the One Piece and is likely a player in the endgame. Straight up, it is impossible to be certain of who this is. Is this the man marked by flames? Does Shanks have a twin brother? I mean, the silhouette and the sword kind of looks like Shanks. You know, a lot of people say, well, the Shanks that met with the Gorosei is not the actual Shanks, it's Shanks' brother. I have no idea, but I'm excited to meet this person. It feels like the only reason why Oda would introduce a character this important this late to the game is that this character will be important to the arc of Elbaf. That's what I think. Like, Elbaf needed some kind of antagonist or character like this, and Oda realized it as he plotted out that arc. But yeah, guys, I really think it's the man marked by flames. Like, I feel like that is the best guess. But of course, it doesn't have to be the case. But anyway, I know that we were dicking around at the beginning of this review, being overly critical for the sake of it, but I really enjoyed this chapter. I thought that it was incredibly powerful. It felt like a nice bow on the top of the Egghead Island arc, properly setting up the final saga and the scope and the stakes of it, and I personally think that it worked really well. But yeah, Elbaf seems soon, this arc seems over. The only thing left appears to be MF, and whether or not they destroy it or they capture it. I kind of think that York is going to capture it so that she can experiment on it, but aside from that, we just gotta leave. But yeah, as always, if you know something from the chapter that I might have missed, just share your thoughts. Remember to check out my book, The Booms, link is in the description. Like the video, subscribe, click the bell to be notified, join the squad, and as always, guys, have a wonderful day.